Alrighty, well, thanks for joining again, everyone, for our Friday afternoon training session. Today, we're going through the Constructive Software again and a bit about how to make use of that and the housekeeping around it. So we've got Lizzie from Constructive that'll be showing us through the ropes through the Constructive Software stage. But I'll start off just going through some of our housekeeping steps in Gyro, how to get the ball rolling to merge into the Constructive process. So I'm hoping everyone's familiar with the Gyro portal. So this is just the task tab. You can do this in the Gyro desktop software as well. And the process to get started is we need to flow through all of our regular tasks at the start of a job. Here's just a simplified list of a pretty standard job. And you'll get to the point where you get to about around a 5% deposit paid stage. And as we mark this off, obviously we've got our next sort of tasks that pop up. And a request color selection is a standard task that everyone's pretty familiar with. So when we mark this off, that request will go through to your color consultant. So you need to make sure, obviously, that you've got, I'll just leave that page, that you've got a business contact assigned. So here we've got a sales consultant and an estimator assigned on this job. So we shoot back to tasks. I'll fill these out again. So when you fire off this request color selection, obviously get some more tasks here, and one of those is color selection received. So this task has always been around, and that's for your color consultant. They might do some manual paperwork with the client. They'll receive it and mark that task off. But to start using our online color selections with Constructive, we're going to use these new tasks here. So if for some reason you don't want to use the online Constructive software, you can just delete these tasks out and continue on with your regular paper-based process. But I think you'll find there's lots of benefits to use the online system. So the first thing to note here is this request online color selection job setup is a new task. So in the future, we're going to have an API which will do this automatically for you and create a job in Constructive. But until that happens, we've just got a manual process, and someone from the franchising staff will create this job for you in Constructive. But what you need to do is request the online color selection job setup. So simply by marking that off, make sure obviously you save the job. Our team will be notified, and within, or hopefully within the day, you should get a job created in Constructive ready to go. And you will notice if you reload the job at some point that the job has been set up, and this will be marked off by our team. All right, so if you see that with a completed date on it, that means that the job is ready to go in Constructive. Now, if you've followed our other Constructive webinars that we've had, you'll know that we've been talking about our 3D. So we've got some 3D selections. So Lizzie's been working hard on getting that process right, and I'm hoping she'll be able to demonstrate that today. But for us, obviously, there's still some housekeeping here as well. So you'll need to request the 3D model from our designers. So normally you get all of your design paperwork that'll come through. This is a separate request. We need a 3D model, which we can upload to the Constructive software. And you'll request that from your designer just by tapping or adding that task in with a completed date. All right, obviously, if you don't want to use the 3D model, you don't have to. You can delete that task and move on fine without it. You can use the Constructive software without 3D at all. All right, and when that model is ready, so our designer will upload that into the attachments for you, and they'll mark off this 3D model and say that it's completed. All right, so your color consultant will get notified that that's there, and they can also start the job prep. And that will include uploading this 3D model as well into Constructive. And this is sort of where Lizzie will pick up and show us how the Constructive software works. But once Lizzie shows us exactly what to do in there, the color consultant will follow all Lizzie's processes and come back in here and mark off that the job prep has been completed. And then pretty much from that point on, we're following through a regular stage, regular job, where we'll get an output from Constructive, which is a PDF of all the selections that have been made. And your color consultant can mark that off, that they've received that PDF from the Constructive software. And processing is usually something that your estimators will do. So that's the general gist of all the new tasks that we have. So if we get back to this stage, I'll just delete a date out. So we should look something like this once Constructive's ready to go. So Lizzie, if you wouldn't mind, I'll get you to share your screen and we'll show what you'd have to do to start working on a job and preparing that job ready for the client.
Sure.
I'll just stop my share. So if anyone's got any questions along the way, please let me know. You can pop a message in the chat box or raise your hand and I can allow you to talk.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you all. So this is what Constructive Software admin screen would look like for you guys when you log into Constructive Software. You'll all be sent your own user IDs and logins from your head office area if they haven't already sent you some.
Have been sent, so hopefully everyone's got those.
Perfect. Yeah. So when you log in, you're all going to see the same sort of thing. We are going to set you up into individual business units by franchise. So what you'll be able to do is once we've set those up, you'll be able to filter down to your own particular business unit on the right-hand side here so that you only see the jobs associated for your company. So in here, these are just, we've got a couple of client jobs that we've put in and quite a few test demo jobs that we've had to play around with to set up and everything like that. So first of all, to search for a job that you're looking for, best way to do is to search for a job number. And you just do that over here on the right-hand side. And you can either put in like the whole job number, part of the job number. So if I put in 20001, I'm going to get my 2 jobs here, which ones are relevant and takes the rest of my view for me. If I don't want to search by that, I just close it out and have a look for what I'm looking for. So today I'm just going to work on a test job below here. And you'll see we've got a job number over here, client name, address, obviously your company. This business unit here will be here once we set it up for you guys. So that's where you'll be able to see it's your own franchise. Job status will be pre-construction. And when you get the job itself, it's going to look like this with 0 of 0 selections. So what we want to do to go through and edit this job and check that it's been set up correctly is click the 3 dots. And now we come through to our job card, I suppose. So you've got, again, it's all your client details on this front screen here. You've got an address and client tab where you want to make sure the correct build address is in here, the correct client's name. And you also want to make sure you have a casual greeting in here, like Tim and Lizzie or Tim, whatever their first names are, you'll want to put in that casual greeting because that's what we'll use when we send out emails to the clients. So if you don't put anything there, the email is going to say, hi, blank. So always make sure you've got the client's first name in that tab. And then email here as well, just make sure you have, it would be like your main client. You can only have 1 email address and 1 user on a Constructive job. So it would just be like your client number 1 or you'll have to choose between if it was a husband and wife, which one you want to put in there. But you just have 1 email address in here as well. Sorry. And then you've got your selections tab, which is the next one. So what you can see at the top here is that selections haven't been created yet. So that's what I'm going to show you how to do now to start that first load of selections for the client. So in Constructive, we've just got 1 house type set up at the moment, which is called Fast Track. So for your Fast Track clients, that's what you're going to select. We've got 2 selection templates at the moment. Today, we're just going to talk about and go through Fast Track. Custom is probably about a month away still, but it is coming and would basically follow a really similar process. But for your Fast Track clients, we're going to select the Fast Track template and the Fast Track specification as well. So it's pretty simple. It's just Fast Track, Fast Track, Fast Track across the board. Down here, we've got house model. So when we first have the job, we're going to leave that for now, and I'll show you how to load a model onto the job afterwards. If you have an elevation or like facade name that you would like to put in, you can enter that in there as well. If you don't want to use it, you don't need to. It's not a big deal. And orientation, again, it doesn't really come into play anywhere. If you want to fill it out, you're welcome to, but you don't need to for anything. So now that I've put in my house type, selection template and specification, I want to create the full list of selections available for any client at all. So to do that, I'm going to click on actions and reload selections. And here it just is saying, are you sure you want to reload selections? When you do this over and over again, we'll be making sure this note will actually be changed because client selections will be retained for you guys. It's a process we're going to put into place. So don't worry about that note too much. Recalculate prices just means that if there's a price change in the system, if you recalculate prices, your clients are going to see the most up-to-date price.
So most of our items are set there with zero prices or price on application. So it probably is not all that relevant to us at this stage, but if we do start using prices, that might come into play.
Exactly. So every single time I'm working on a job, I'll always keep that button ticked anyway, because to me, I do want my clients to see the most up-to-date prices. So now we're going to click reload. And you'll now see that we've got a selection status as created and when they were created and calculated on as well. So now from here, we're going to move into our tab it's called our Quants tab, and this is where you start to set up a job. So all these areas, external house, kitchen, butlers, laundry, all of that, we've put into what is called our house type, which was based from here in your selections tab here. So this is really generic, and this is where you'll have to go through and set up your job for your colour consultants who have to go in and set up the job a little bit more and tailor it more to what the client has on their home and don't have on their home.
So what you need to do at this stage, the client hasn't got a login yet. You're able to jump in and prep the job and get it ready before the client sees it.
Yes, absolutely. So important to make sure you've prepped it all for the client, because otherwise they might end up going and choosing all different, like a cladding when they don't have cladding, or they might be expecting something that they don't actually have included on their home. Like they might be making a selection for a 4th bedroom when they actually only a 3-bedroom house. So you definitely want to come in and make sure you're editing these and keeping these up to date. So to go through and edit it and basically set up the job, you're going to click on the drop down here, and you're going to really want to be focusing on this selection name that's in the middle. That's what we, the language that we're using when we talk to your clients. It's probably what you would know like as well for most of the items. So what you want to do is work through and look at your documentation and your plans, and you would have a look and say, is there barge capping on this job? Yes or no? If there is, we're just going to keep it there. If there isn't, we're going to take it out and click that little X, and it just keeps it in grey here. And then we'll go through, is there bricks? Is there weatherboard? If there is weatherboard, you're also going to need them to select a colour. Is there a clothesline? No, we can take that out. Is there a colour bond roof? Yes, there is. A little bit further down here, we've also got roof tiles. So if they have a colour bond roof, I'm going to take out the roof tiles. So you're going to work your way the whole way through here and just take out what isn't relevant for this particular client's job. You then come into your house, and again, you've got carpets, cavity sliding doors. So if they didn't have any cavity sliding doors, you can take that selection out because they don't need to make a selection for a cavity sliding door handle. So we would take that out. Coming into your kitchen, you've got a bench top edge, a cooktop, handles, cupboard doors, kickboard, sink mixer, a sink, oven, rangehood, splashback. We've then also set up a generic butler's pantry as well, with just cabinetry selections, but maybe this butler's pantry doesn't actually have a sink or a mixer. So we can take those out of there just like that. Or you might take them out, but then realize, oh, they actually do have a sink. I need to put that back in there. I've accidentally taken it out. If you just click here on the 0 and you reinstate it with the 1, it just brings it back in again for you. So it's never gone from the job. It always will be there for you. So if you've taken something out by accident, you can always come back and put it back in.
What's the process there, Lizzie, if there was no butler's pantry at all?
Yep, so if there's no butler's pantry at all, we can remove this whole area by clicking on these 3 dots here and remove area. It's going to say, are you sure you want to remove it? Yes, I do. And then it makes it grey. So again, it's still there if we need to reinstate it later on. Great. But if they don't have a butler's pantry, we can just get rid of it totally. So you would work again your way through your laundry, if there's a linen, your ensuite. So with the ensuite, we've actually got a couple of options in here where you would have to either decide, do they have a Formy vanity unit or are they doing custom cabinetry? So you will have to take one or the other out for your en-suites and bathrooms. So you've got to do that. So you've got a benchtop selection, which is like your normal cabinetry benchtop stone or laminate. And you've got benchtop edge. And then you've also got a 4 me vanity unit and a 4 me basin, a 4 me vanity cabinet. So if you needed to, if this ensuite in particular actually was like custom cabinetry, we would take out these 4 me units. So I'm going to take that selection out and this selection out here. And I'm going to leave my benchtop edge, cupboard handles, a kickboard as my cabinetry for my ensuite. But then let's have a look in my bathroom, and we'll say they actually do have a 4 me unit in the bathroom. So we want to take out the rest of the cabinetry selections in the bathroom. So we'll take out the benchtop edge, the cupboard door handles, and the kickboard. And then that leaves your 4 me units and your 4 me cabinet colors. As well, we can also, if they have a third bath, like an ensuite and 2 bathrooms, if we want to copy and create a whole new bathroom, we can do that. And the best way to do that is, again, to click on these 3 dots of the bathroom, copy dimension types, and then you're going to get a pop-up here of what is the new room that you want to call this. Because this is another bathroom, you've got a few options here. I'm going to call this one bathroom 2. I'm going to click OK. It goes to the top. But what you can do is this little arrow here, it drops all the headings down. And so now I can drag this down and sit it under my other bathroom here. And now I can go through and decide, what do I need in my next bathroom now? Maybe this second bathroom doesn't actually have a toilet. So I'm going to take that out of my second bathroom here. And maybe this second bathroom doesn't have a bath either. So I'm going to take a bath out of there and a bath spout from that bathroom as well. So what you're going to do, I won't go through all of them, but you have to go through each one of those and make those selections and tailor it to what is included in your client's house. So now that I've done that, I'm going to save this. And what you want to do next is what we call the reload selections again in action. So actions and reload selections. And you get that same pop-up again. So we're going to click OK. And what that does is basically refreshes the job here and takes away all those selections that we said we don't want anymore, and it refreshes it. So when we go and have a look in the client's view, we're going to see it's only going to have 2 bathrooms now instead of the 1. It's got the ensuite, and it will have those different selections in there.
Are they still grayed out in this screen now? Or have they
yes. So what we can do is there's a little I button here which shows everything that we've gone and got rid of. So if we click that, you can see my butler's pantry's back, and when I click under external, you'll see all these. So if you've accidentally taken something out, you click that little I to turn it off and back on, so you can reinstate it again if you need to.
Perfect. And then do you need to reload it again to push that?
Yes. So if I came back here and I had accidentally taken out barge capping and I actually did need to have it in, I'm going to reinstate it again here, and I'm going to save and reload selections again. So anytime you make a change in here, you need to save and reload selections.
Perfect.
So from here, we want to go and have a look and make sure we've set up the job properly now. So we're going to click this little button up here, which opens to client view. And we've got a little bit of an introduction on here about selecting color packages. This is what your client sees as well, guys. They see the same thing. So you can click start here and it takes you to your first selection. At the moment, I'll load on a 3D after I've gone through this, but it takes you firstly to all your color boards here. So if I'm a client working through this and I like the Aussie Hamptons board, I can select this now here. And you'll watch, and it's gone through and selected a lot of stuff down the left-hand side here. So if I click under roof cover, I can see that these colors have already selected as per the Aussie Hamptons color board. Now, what you will also need to do for your clients is based on like where you are and what bricks are available, is let your clients know that if you're in this part of New South Wales, you get the grey stone brick. If you're in this area, you get the whirlwind brick for this selection. So you'll need to still have that sort of communication with your client if you have bricks that aren't, if they're not available for, like if both the bricks aren't available for them, you would have to just let them know that like you get included the whirlwind brick for yours. So if we need to go through and say this client here does have the whirlwind bricked, we can just select this now, and it's just going to give a green tick now. So then we come through to external selections. And again, you can see all of these have already been pre-selected for the client based on the Aussie Hamptons, but post has a question mark. So if I click on post, this lets the client choose if they've got post, do they just want them stained or do they want vivid white? And it's up, the client can select that. So if they want to select it stained, they can just do that. That's fine. Or if they decide they actually want vivid white, they can do that as well.
So they've only got options for those two.
Yes.
Is that because all the other ones are part of different fast
Yes,
tracks?
these other colors that are grayed out in the background are all part of a different color package. So if I was trying to select the, like one that's not part of it, it's going to tell me that you're going to, if you want to select this color, it's going to unselect the whole Aussie Hamptons package now. So it doesn't let you choose a color outside of the Aussie Hamptons board, which is the whole purpose of fast track. So if I did do that and I click continue, everything's going to go away and I'm going to have to go back and choose a new color board. So it's not selected now. So I've got to reselect it and go back through, choose my brick again, go back to my post, choose my color here. So as you can see through everywhere there's a green tick, everything's been selected for you. If there is an orange question mark, it means there's a choice that needs to be made. So again, a balustrade color, do they want vivid white? Internal balustrade, this is a great one that I want to chat to you guys about. In all your selections, you've actually got this other hidden choice and you can see it really clearly in internal balustrade. This is in every single selection. If a client wants something totally random or you're really unsure and it's not included in here, you can select other here and you can add a note to it to say handrail to be stained clear, as an example, that you might need to do something like that. So we can do that and you've got a little note that's on here and now that will print on our paperwork as well.
So that's only available to the color consultant, isn't it? So the client
Correct.
can type that in themselves?
Correct. The client can't see any of the other choices. It's just for the color consultants to use.
All right, so I guess a couple of ways of using that is either doing it ahead of time when you're prepping the job, or if you're doing a video conference with the client and working through this with the client on the video call.
Yeah. So if you're working through it with a client on a video call, if they were logged in at their end as themselves, they're not going to see that hidden selection. But if you were sharing your screen, they would. But that's okay because you're still the only one that can enter in the information. They can't just go in and pick something completely out of the blue from somewhere you won't buy like a tap from, for example. You are the one that you have to type it in, so you have to approve it basically before, or vet it before it goes in. So when we come down to the cabinets, so we'll see here under bench top. So I kept the custom bench top into the ensuite, but I took it out of the bathroom because I left the forming units in the bathroom. So when you have a look at bench top, there's a selection to be made for the kitchen, laundry, ensuite and powder, but not the bathroom. So when I click down on the Formy Vanity bench top, I just got them for the bathrooms only, not the ensuite. So again, with the bench tops, the clients have the choice of the Laminex or the Stone, and it's again, the colors are pre-selected, they're ready for them. So if they want Stone, they can have the crystal light color, which is part of the Aussie Hamptons. And then they just do the same working through the laundry. Again, bench top edge is just the profile. So if they've got a Laminex bench top, you would choose the Laminex profile. If they have an Stone, you would choose the Stone profile. Cupboard door handles. So if there is no choice for them for the kitchen, like here, there's just one handle has been selected for the kitchen as part of Aussie Hamptons. It's pre-selected for them. However, in the ensuite, they could choose one of these handles. If they wanted to have a bar handle instead of the knob, they could choose that in the ensuite if they want to. And same for the powder if they wanted to. Then when you come down to the forming units, which are only in our bathroom, we're going to go through and say the vanity bench top, do they want the stone top or do they want that poly marble top? So again, the client can choose that. The poly marble is included, the stone would be an extra. So that's why we've got the price on application here for them. So your client is aware that that is not a standard inclusion for them. And that will be priced once the color documents have sent back to them. So again, your client can select those. Shaving cabinets, optional depending on what size, if they have them included or what size is going to fit in there for them. Basins, we've got your ensuite cabinetry basins, and then we'll have the formy. I actually have to do a little tweak on there from the other day, so that will be fixed this afternoon. But you'll have your formy basins, that is the Comet, I think, in the poly marble top, and then you've got your normal cabinetry basin bench tops, which are available here. So they will, again, I'll take those out. So yeah, you've got your normal cabinetry basins here, and then your formy ones that are there. Yeah, was the Comet. So again, if they choose that stone top for the formy unit, they could choose that Comet basin, and again, they know that that's a price on application. Selection. Moving into the laundry trough, you've got your normal trough or like a cabinetry setup, your sinks, tapware and hardware. We get into some more packages here as well for them. So if they just want the standard included chrome range, you could select that and it'll go through and select it again down the left-hand side here. If they wanted the matte black throughout, they can do that as well. And it's just going to go through and select all those in the areas that we say we need a basin mixer in the ensuite bathroom, bathroom 2 powder, and it just goes and selects that basin mixer in all those rooms for you. When it comes down to the shower, the clients can have a look and either choose like whichever ones they need. You'll see just over here, again, there's that other. So if they did want a really different shower that's not included here, you can see that. But this little eye here, that means that it's hidden from the client. So when I hover over it, if for whatever reason I wanted to show this to the client, I could click this drop down here and say show to customer, and now that's gone. So you can do that on all selections as well. If you wanted to send this out to your client and not show them this shower for whatever reason, you can do that by clicking there and hide it from the customer, and it gets a little eye. You will still have it visible, but your client will not be able to see it when they log in.
So on the other option though, if you make that visible to the client, does that mean they can type their own in?
Yes. So
okay.
I wouldn't do that with other, but it is applicable, like it is there if you need to. I would mostly do it with, yeah, if you didn't want to supply, like show them any of these other options for showers, you could hide all of these so that is the only one that they can choose if that's what you wanted to do. And then again, you can show them back to the customer as needed. If for whatever reason you didn't even want to show your clients the showers at all to the ensuite, we could just hide it completely with this eye up here. Are you sure you want to hide this selection from the customer? Yes, I do. So now in the ensuite, see how it's gone a bit grey over on the left-hand side here? That means it's hidden from the customer. Again, you can see it, but your clients won't be able to. So when they drop down the shower, they're going to see a shower to select for the bathrooms and the powder, but not for an ensuite.
Which would mean the colour consultant would have to select that item for the client on their behalf.
Correct. Yeah. So if you've accidentally hidden it, you want to show it again, you just click it again, and it's just going to reinstate it and make it white again. And now the selection is visible to your customer. So working through, I won't go through every single section because we will be here for a bit longer. You've got some appliance packages as well here. So you've got your standard appliance package at the top and then your upgraded ones throughout. So again, if they chose this Technica one, it's just going to go in and select all of those. So they're not individual. Shower screens. Again, you've got your shower screens already pre-selected. Your mirror frames, so whether they have a framed or polished edge, you can select one or the other. If they have different ones in different rooms, you can do that. Your clients might want to decide to upgrade all the rooms instead, so they can go in and select those if they wanted to. And then when you come to floor coverings, there's quite a few options for them. So your carpets, they could select in the Aussie Hamptons, any of these carpets here. That's the color range that's included. So they might say, I really like this dark color here, so I'm going to have that one. And then flooring, we've grouped it into vinyl plank, laminate, hybrid, and universal floating timber across the top here. So again, these two colours of vinyl plank are the colours available for the Aussie Hamptons package. The laminate has these ones, hybrid has these, and universal floating timber are these ones. So your client can select a colour from those ones available for fast track. So they might choose this one. Or again, If they don't want to choose a flooring color and they want something completely out of the blue, you can use your other here and you would type in, it might be like a trend time 6 or whatever color it might be. You can type that in there so that they can select that as well.
All right, so there's a good chance that some of these floor coverings are probably already selected. So through the contract process, the client may have already chosen what carpet they wanted or flooring they wanted.
So you can go and pre-select that for them.
your client ahead of time.
Absolutely. So from here as well, you've got at the bottom here what's called My Selections, and it's also at the top of all the selections here as well. So you can access it either way. It takes you to the same screen. If I click on this, it's a bit more of just an admin screen, I suppose, right? So if I drop this arrow up, it drops all my headings down. And this is where I could work through, so I could choose a color board just from here as well and say, let's go Aussie Hamptons again. Click OK. I could then click on my roof cover and make sure everything's been selected there as part of the roof cover. I click on the brickwork and I can easily see, okay, we need to choose one of the bricks. We'll go whirlwind, perfect. And you can easily scroll through there and see what hasn't been chosen. If the client hasn't gone in and chosen something, you can see that from there. You'll see some of these selections might say optional, like letterbox here. So the client doesn't have to choose anything there. It's just available. If they do want to add it in and upgrade, they can do that. But they don't have to choose something. That's fine. Again, your doors and everything all selected. So they are going to go, you can work through that screen. If I was a color consultant, I'd more than likely work through that screen. However, if I was doing an online meeting similar to this, I'm probably going to work through here so that they can see the colors. You'd work through more of the My Selection screen if you were doing something in the back end without your client there, just because it is just more of an admin sort of screen and not a like colory sort of way, I suppose.
Just looks a bit quicker to work through.
Yeah, exactly. It is a bit quicker to work through. Once you start flying through these, though, it doesn't take too long either. So I would say they're almost on par. So from here, if you want to print out a document, you can do that from here, the little printer reports button. And you've got one that's called selections. And we're just going to click create. We leave all those boxes ticked. And it's just a printout basically of everything. So you can see we've selected the Aussie Hamptons board and it almost looks like that My Selection screen, right? We're going to scroll through. We're going to see, oh, we didn't choose a color for the posts. We need to go back and select something there. We haven't chosen a balustrade color. We need to go and choose something there. It's just a good quick pickup. So instead of going through every tab in the My Selection screen, I suppose, and looking at what's no items chosen, you can just pick this up and you can scroll through quickly and see where do I need to make choices.
So at this stage, we get to that point and say, look, balustrade, there's nothing chosen, but we actually worked out there's no balustrade on the job.
Yes, perfect. Great question. Yeah, so what you want to do, if you've gone through and gone, oh, there's no balustrade on the job, I need to take it out. We need to go back to our admin screen here and back into our job quants. And we need to find the balustrade here and we need to remove it. So we need to click on our X to take it out. We need to save and we need to reload selections again. Now, a really important part here is that if a selection has already been made on the balustrade, then it's going to remain until you go and unselect it. So if we had already chosen a color for the balustrade and gone, yeah, I want it to be vivid white, and then you've gone, oh, I'm sorry, there's actually no balustrade in your house. We don't need that on here. Let's go take it out. You'll want to come here and unselect it first because we don't remove selections for anything. You have to, if a selection's been made and you don't want it there anymore, you have to manually remove it because we want you to make sure that you know that that isn't to be there. You know, you don't want to take a selection off a client without having a conversation with them saying like, oh no, you just don't get that anymore. Like, so balustrade is, yeah, exactly. So balustrade isn't going to be here anymore. So if I go back to my selections and I run my selections report again, I shouldn't spell correctly. Balustrade's not coming up anywhere. I don't have it in here anymore. Okay, so that is what you would do. So when you're setting up a job, you'd work through your job quants here, save, reload selections. You'd then pop it out to your client view and you would just double check your main areas of like your bathroom and en suites. Have you got the right cabinetry in them? Have you got the right basins in them? Have you left in balustrade and you shouldn't have left in balustrade? So you're just going to want to do a little quick run through, drop down most of these, but probably mostly focused on your tapware area, your cabinetry. Your appliances should be fine most of the time, unless you're adding extra appliances to like a scullery or something like that. But you do want to just double check and make sure that they are all there and working. So if that's all good now, we can come back to the job and we can say, perfect, let's load the 3D model onto the job now. So we're going to click on our Documents tab here. And we're going to click this blue plus here. And the category you want to set is called House Models, because it's a house model. And then you're going to either drag a zip file, or you can click here to attach it from somewhere. So Mackay 180 is one of the ones I've got from you guys before. So it needs to be a zip file here. So I'm going to add that. I'm going to click open and click OK.
So for our users, you should find that in the drawings folder in our igyro software. So that's where our designer will upload it to.
So you're going to see this pop up as new. It will take a couple of minutes to load up. What I would generally do if I had a couple of jobs to set up, I would load my model on, I would go back and I'd go to a new job and I'd work through the quants of a new job. So I'm not like just sitting here going, oh, when is my model coming? And I'd load the new quants of a new job. And then I would come back to my original job and just double check if my model is going to be there. So if I want to see if my model is there, click on the selections. And when it has loaded, it's going to pop up whatever your file name is, it's going to say in house model here. So I've actually loaded this model into the system already. So for the purpose of saving time, I want to show you guys what it looks like. So these are all existing models that have been loaded into the system, mostly for testing purposes. So some of them won't look fabulous. I'll go and delete the ones that don't look great. But we can always, if you had a client that had the exact same model for like two different jobs, you could use the same model still. That's totally fine.
Yep,
so I'm going to click OK.
Using a standard design, there's a good chance that's already been loaded at some point.
Yeah, exactly. So you don't have to load it. You can pick it up, and as long as the name is like generic, like if Mackay is like a standard model, you can pick that up and use that one. So click OK. And so now you can see that it's here. I want to also now turn on 3D selections for the client so they can actually see the 3D. So I'm going to check that box. I'm just going to hit save. And now when I pop this out to the client view, when I click start, my 3D model is going to load up. That was not the right one I wanted out of all of the options I had. Let me try this one. No, where did that go? Must be number 3 in the list. Sorry, guys. Always the way, isn't it?
Lots of
that's the
testing
right one.
opportunities there.
That's why I need to delete out the ones that don't work properly, because then you choose the wrong one.
Makes sense.
So when I click start here, you'll see that the model is now loaded on this client's job and the colours of the Aussie Hampton has been applied. So if I want to have a look at organic earth, for example, I can click on that. So this is saying to fully update your 3D, you will need to make a couple of choices where there's a question mark, like the brickwork and things like that. So I'm going to click OK. And then I would want to go through to like my brickwork and make sure I'm choosing the correct brick here. So we can see that that brick has just changed there. And then again, we can go back to our color boards and we could choose a different color board if we want to. Again, you're going to have that same pop-up because they have different choices, but you can see that the brick has already changed there. The other thing which would be very cool, is you could click on this selection here, and this model has been mapped to either have bricks or cladding. So if the job you're setting up uses this model and they've actually got cladding and not bricks, you would have taken out that brick dimension type, so they wouldn't have that option. but we can also select like a cladding instead. So you just need to make sure if there is like no bricks on the job and it's just external cladding, you've taken that brick selection out for them so that they would just see the cladding. Again, you can rotate around the whole house here, and it will update for you your window frames. You can again see here that that is the color that has been selected, just white, obviously, for the color boards. So yeah, it's fun to play with. And for those of you that already have access, by all means, please feel free to go in and use this test job here, INT test. Please only use the test job.
Yes.
Go in and have a look at the model. Do be aware though that if you all jump online at the exact same time, which I'm sure you all want to right now, if you and me and someone else are all changing color boards, you might be like, hang on, it's not working at the moment because it keeps like flicking off. That's because there's like 10 of us in there at the same time trying to play with it.
So I guess you probably get more functionality use out of this on a custom job too, wouldn't you? Because you could select the roof and they could choose from an array of colors.
Absolutely, because I would click on the roof and then it would take me to all my color selections for my roof, garage door as well. It would take you to like different color selections for your garage door for a custom. Entry doors as well. You can see your actual entry doors change too. So it will be awesome for a custom. But a couple of feedback we've had from some of the fast tracks this week, they've all really enjoyed it. So it's really good. So almost finishing up, what will happen is when the clients are actually in their selections here, once they're ready, like finished, there's a button up here called submit. When they click submit, it's going to tell them that, oh, you haven't actually made any of these choices here. Do you want to go back and make those choices? So hopefully they will go back and make all those selections first. And then if they have made it all, they'll come back and hit submit again. Otherwise, they could submit it now. They'll click OK. I'll probably have to go back and make everything. Once, though, the client has actually submitted all their selections. Oh, God.
All right, I think we might have lost Lizzie there. She's just frozen. We've lost a net connection there. All right, well, we're getting to the tail end of that now. So ultimately from this stage, we'd be submitting that form and a notification will be sent to the color consultant, and the color consultant could then go through all of these settings, make sure everything's been selected appropriately. Maybe a client selected something that's not in the package or requires an upgrade cost. So at that point, we could really work through, you could work through that with the client and call them and let them know exactly, what they've selected and, what costs might be associated. And at that stage, if the color consultant's happy, they've made adjustments to anything they need, they could then send that PDF form through to the estimator on the job. All right, from that stage, the estimator will take on and do a proper bill of quantities and any variations that are required from that point. All right, so I'm not sure if anyone's got any questions at this stage. So another observation I'd like to make as well is that whenever you request a job to be created in the Constructive software, there are some costs involved. So that's, oh, hello, Lizzie.
Sorry. Oh, wow. I was like, what is happening? Sorry about that, everyone.
That's all right. I was just recapping on that process there. I think we're getting towards the tail end there.
We are, yeah, we're almost finished.
Perfect. All right.
Sorry, did you want to finish recapping?
That's fine. You can pick up there. I think we're just talking about almost the PDF and the submission process at this
Correct.
point.
Yes. So when they get to the My Selections and they go to submit here, it's going to basically send an email to your color consultant to say that INT test Mr. John Smith has finished their selections. So the way you want to get that PDF is by actually allocating your selections consultant on your job here. So if I click on my contacts here as well, I've already set up Angela, for example, on this one here. But if I want to add a new color consultant, I'm going to click this blue plus and I'm going to search for my color consultant's name in our users list. So I am just going to select this first person here. I'm going to click OK. And I'm going to say they are a selections consultant. It's really important to make sure you choose selections consultant, because in the back end of the settings, that's who we set up the PDF to go to as the contact role. It's not a person's name, it's a contact role. So it's really important to make sure you set up your contact as a selections consultant on the job. And then you can also actually select if you would like this person visible to the client job or not. If you don't want them visible to your client, you can just untick that or keep it ticked. So once I've added them as my selections consultant to my job, they're just in there now. I'll save that.
So would the PDF be sent to both Angela and Eamon in this example here?
That is a great question. I believe so, because you've got two color consultants or two selections consultants, sorry.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. Because I've left Eamon as a visible contact, I believe. Let me just double check that. I did. Yeah, perfect. When I pop this back out to the client view and have a look, on the Contact Us page, we've got them now as their visible contacts there. So if I didn't want them to be, if I didn't want Angela or Eamon to be visible, I would obviously just tick that box, edit, untick that, let's save that. And so I've left Angela as visible still, but taken Eamon as not visible. So if I have a look again at the client view here and Contact Us, it just shows Angela now. Right. So as a business, you might want to actually add a few different contacts to the jobs. You might want to add your sales consultants. If you give your sales consultants logins as a sales consultant, they'll be able to view the jobs that they're a contact on, but no one else's jobs. And they won't be able, but they won't also be able to edit anything at all. Really important question, like really important that we don't let sales consultants edit anything. So they'll be able to come through, they'll be able to have a look at the job list here, but they're not going to, if I put Tim as a sales consultant for John Smith's job here, but no others, when Tim logs in, he's only going to see John Smith's job, no others. He'll be able to have a look at it in the client view. He won't be able to make any selections though, and he won't be able to edit any details in here. He won't even be able to touch anything in the quants and change anything at all in there. So yeah, really important part is that you're just adding your contact to the job, and it has to be a selections consultant. Now, once your job's ready and you're ready to send it out to your client, we're all done. We've set up the whole job. We're good to go. You can click this button over here, send registration email, and you've got two buttons, send registration or send registration reminder. What I'm going to do is just put Tim's email in here and save that. So I'm going to send a registration email to Tim now. So I'm going to click send registration and send. It says registration has been sent. Now I'm going to click my emails tab at the top here. And you can see the email that has just been sent to Tim. It's the email address that I've put in at the top here. So if you've sent an email and you've just gone, oh no, I've just put in the wrong email address, I need to send that again, you would just come back to your job details, your address, update your email address here, click save, and then you can go back and send your registration again. You can also see by a green dot now that this email was delivered on the 6th of August at 1:47 my time. It's 3:47 your time, I think. Once Tim opens that, it'll even turn to a little tick to say he's opened it. Or if it's bounced and it hasn't gone to Tim, it's going to be red so that you can identify that, oh, this client hasn't actually got an email. I need to double check the email address, or, you know, just make sure it hasn't gone into spam or something on their end for them. And, you know, before when I mentioned about the client name in the casual greeting here, we just want to make sure, so if it doesn't say anything as well, we want to make sure we're getting the right details of pulling across through to the email. So when your client gets this email, oh, Tim's gone and opened the email. Thanks, Tim. So see how you can see when I hover over it says opened at 1:47 as well. So when your client gets this email, they can click straight on this button here, and it's going to take them to your normal login screen for them, which looks exactly like where you guys would go through and log in yourselves. So your client gets sent a registration based on their particular job, so they can only register against their job. So they would create their own username, create their own password, and then they would click register, and then they'd go straight in and they would see their selection screen straight away like this once they're logged straight in. If your client hasn't registered yet, you've sent them the registration email and they're just not doing anything, you can send them a reminder email. So again, it's just from this. You can also tell, sorry, before I do that, if your client hasn't registered yet, this is going to stay blank here. If they have registered, that'll have the client's username that they have. So I'm saying Tim hasn't registered yet. I want to ask him again to go and register. We've also got a registration reminder email. It's really similar. It just, I think, starts with like, just a gentle reminder, please register for your job. So if I send that to Tim, yes, that's the email. Send it again. It's going to pop up in here. Because I clicked way too fast, it says no content available. If I give it a minute, it'll actually give you the content of what has been sent. So again, it's almost the same. It just is gently reminding them to go and register here.
Perfect.
So I'll just show you as well with the user. Once a user has registered, it looks like that. So we can see this client, Ashley and Marika, have actually registered on their job.
Did they pick that username, or that's just something?
Yeah, no, they picked their username. So you know when I opened up that registration screen, so yeah, they can type in whatever they want to. Yeah.
Got it.
But I think that covers most of it.
Yeah, I think that's right. So obviously with the fast track, you're going through a lot of it before you send it out to the client. Once you get to the point where there's just a couple of questions left for the client to fill out, or just for them to see what's happening, that's the point that you would go through and just send them a login once the job's prepped and ready to go.
Yes.
Yeah, and really when they hit that submit button, the PDF is sent back to the selection consultant, who can then review what's been entered. And at that stage, we can mark that off in Gyro to say that the color selection's been received, and that should fire off the notifications then to the estimator to move on. All right, that's good. So is there anything else you need to go through there, Lizzie? That's
no, I think that's mostly it. I suppose like one other just like information that will probably more assist when you actually get to custom, because again, your custom is going to be the same sort of platform. It's just not set up in packages as such. They would, instead of these all being grayed out, they're all going to be visible really for the client. So if you want to select something and actually add a note to say, you know, if this client wanted this color flooring, but it was only going to be to like the living areas, you can add a note to it with that little arrow drop down, click add edit note, and you might say living areas only as an example.
Yeah.
And then that's going to print on your paperwork as well, because we've selected that. Straight under that selection, it's going to say living areas only. So you can add a note to every single selection that is there if you need to. Hopefully you don't need to do that all the time, but yeah, the option is there if you need it.
Very good. All right. So I guess just one last thing we to go through. I started to cover about some costs that are associated here as well. So to create a job in the system, our business has got an $85 fee that'll be charged via our service hub. So we'll on-charge that back through. The 3D selection's also got an additional cost, which is $35. So that's optional. You may or may not do the 3D, you can choose. But there's also a request from the designer as well. So they need to prep the 3D model ready for that. So you may find there's an hourly rate charge via the service hub to complete that model, which depending on the model and how it was created, it could be anywhere from 10 minutes, possibly up to an hour for a really complex job that's on an old template. So if you're concerned about that, have a talk to your designer before you request it. And that's all the costs really that are involved there. So if anyone's got any questions, please let us know. Looks like we're question free this afternoon. So you've covered that very well, Lizzie.
Wow, that's a first. It's probably a lot of information to take on, and I completely understand that as well. I guess Angela's done a lot of training this week as well with me through it. So if you do have a lot of questions and queries, she's quite up to speed on what you might need to do. So she'll be a good person to lean on as well.
Thank you, Lizzie. Yeah, that is a good point too, because Angela is also offering color selection services to all our franchisees as well. So you can assign Angela as your as your color consultant, and she'll work through that job on your behalf and prep that ready for the client, and also review it at the end. And you can come in at any stage to see what's happening through that process. Very good. All right. Well, thank you for attending, everyone. And thanks for joining us, Lizzie, and going through all that color selection.
You're welcome. Let me know if you need anything else.
Perfect. Thanks again.
Awesome. Thank
Talk to
you.
all soon.
Bye.